So we are just going to start this session, and today's session is going to be how we can easily and quickly enter GST entries in TelePrime. So there are a lot of methods and a lot of ways on which we can like GST entries in Tele, but there is one method which is I usually prefer and I usually guide to my customers that you should follow that method. And in that method, you can easily do the GST entries, right? So let's start with our Tally. I'm going to share my Tally screen with you. I hope my screen is visible. And let's start uh, the session that how we can quickly do GST entries in Tally. So to do the GST entries, I have started a new company. So I'm creating a new company. For example, our company, I'm making a new company. Two things which are very important in GST is that we should always mention our name and address and the state. The state is very important because our GST is, as we all know, is destination-based tax. So it is determined based on where we are locating and where we are delivering our goods and services. So we have to mention the state and then the code. Phone number we can skip, and I have started the session from 1st of April 24. Right. Okay. Just after accepting the company, it would straight away go to F11 features. And in F11 features, we are going to define our GST details. So GST details here, we have to mention our GST number. For example, I am mentioning my number. And Tally has the ability to generate and e-invoices. So, sake of simplicity, we are now avoiding our e-way bill and e-invoice settings. Later on, in some other session, we would be discussing both these features that how we can generate e-way bill as well as e-invoicing using Tally Prime. So here we have done our setting, right? And, now, the first thing after creating the company and setting up the GST is that we have to make our sales and purchase ledger. It is a very common practice to maintain multiple sales ledger and purchase ledger. But in my opinion, we should do with the minimum ledgers, and that would make our entries to be more simpler. So my personal choice is that I always make 5 ledgers. The 5 ledgers would be number one of sales of goods. Number two would be the sales of purchase of goods, and then there would be 3 ledgers like central tax, state tax, and integrated tax. And we can do all the magic within these 5 ledgers. But if need arises, then you can make separate ledgers like sales of services and purchase of services also if you are into sales as well as purchase. So let's create our first ledger, and that ledger is going to be sales of goods under sales account, and here applicable GST and HSN code and all these things we should leave it, and we should select we should select goods as a type of supply. Right? And this is how we make our sales ledger. Then let's go for purchase ledger. Same purchase account, applicable, GST is applicable, and nothing else to be done. Now this sales and purchase of goods, these are 2 ledgers which we have made. And then the third thing we have to do is our duty ledgers. And duty ledgers would be central tax, CGST, it would be coming under dividend taxes, and in GST and CGST. We can do the rounding method, but we will not do it here. It would help us to calculate the exact GST amount, and the rounding method digits that would be handled in the bill itself. So it should be not applicable. Here, one important thing is that I have not mentioned any percentage calculation. So by this method, we can calculate a GST on any amount of tax, right? So I'm leaving it 0. Now my state tax, represent taxes, GST and CGST, GST tax, again same treatment. And now our third. Represent taxes, IGST. So here you have noticed that I have made 5 ledgers, which is sales of goods, purchase of goods, and CGST, SGST, and IGST. In all these 5 ledgers, I have not mentioned any rate of GST taxation because that would be handled by the items we are going to sell, right? And in that way, if we do entry in this way, we can make a sales entry or purchase entry of multiple type of tax ledgers, right? So let's make our items. So I have opened the item creation screen, stock item creation. For example, I am saying computer. Computer is one item. Let it be in primary. Create unit. It is on numbers. Numbers, and we have to specify the unit quantity code. That unit quantity code is number, right? Number. So for every unit, we have to map our unit with the units provided by GST department, right? Here we have 3 choices, and mostly used are 2 choices as per company stock group or as per specified detail here. So if we want to specify detail here, then we can specify here that what is the HSN code. Suppose 8571 is the code. Computers is the code. Then now we have to define the taxability, which is taxable, and the rate of tax goods, right? This thing is also important. If we are dealing with services, then we have to select service, otherwise goods. Or if it is capital goods, then we can select the capital goods also. So here we are dealing in computer, so it is a type of supply, and it is like a goods type of supply, so it should be goods. So here I have mentioned that in computer, the unit is numbers, and under it is on primary, and the HSN code and GST rate are mentioned in the item itself, right? Here is another method by which I can apply GST differently. Like suppose I also sell AC. So I am creating another unit which is condition. Suppose I'm giving it a name to the ACs. There are different type of capacities like 2 ton. Now I can create a group, and that group can be AC. And in group also, I can mention the HSN code. And that HSN code can be mentioned here. Suppose we have HSN code for AC, for example, I'm taking one code, suppose 8514, right? And description is here the conditions, right? And taxability here I'm specifying as taxable and it is say 828%. So I have created one group and now here knows and applicable. And then here, if I choose this thing as per company or stock group, so it would be picking up the HSN code and GST rate as per stock group or company. So I can define these things at company level also and stock group level also. So I have chosen the AC group. So stock group, it has picked up the HSN code and GST rate. Again, goods. Now I have created two items. One is of 18% GST and another is of 28% GST. I can create another item also. Say, for example, I'm saying mobile phone. Now I can create a group for it. Mobile. Here I define it. Suppose it has another number. That's a detail here, taxable, and it is 18%. So all the mobiles which would be under this mobile, it would be having that HSN code as 8519 and the tax applicability as 18%. But there are certain mobiles which are costly, and on those, the tax rate is different, for example. So in that case, I can say, for example, Apple mobile, right? Of course, it should come under mobile. And whenever I will choose the mobile group, it would automatically take the group HSN code. But if I specify detail here, then I can specify again code same. But now this has taxability as 28%. So now Tally would pick the applicability from the item itself. It would not go for group. So I have created three items, and these three items are having different tax rates, 18%, 28%, and all. So I can do simplest entries by using the sales voucher. For example, let's make a customer ABC customer. It is our sundry data. Okay, done. Address, whatever. Within Haryana itself. Okay, no problem. You can put the mobile number, etc. Now GST number. Should we have a GST number here? For example, just hold. Suppose I am putting one GST number. So why I'm taking that much time? Because Tally recognizes GST number very well. So it should be right and it should be in correct format also. Suppose I have entered this GST number. If I would press enter and nothing happens, then it is good. But if it is wrong, then Tally would give me an error message immediately. So that's why I'm putting right GST number so that I don't have errors in my GSTR1, right? So I have done this thing. Now sales of goods, and now I'm selling, say for example, computer. Dell i5 computer, right? Quantity, for example, 1. It would show me negative stock because I have not purchased anything, right? For example, it is of say 35,000. I'm including the tax rate. It would be calculating the exact rate and calculating the tax as well. So suppose I choose another mobile phone Samsung, one, say 18,000. Now, two items I have chosen now will be applicable in the tax amount. And so it is calculating the tax automatically. I can make another ledger, round off ledger, which is under indirect expenses, and it is invoice rounding, normal one rounding is there, done. Because our amount is exact, so it is vacant. So this is our bill. So in this bill, you may be having the question that how would we know that what tax amount is of what tax percentage? So for that, what we can do is we press Alt A, and that is for tax analysis. When we go for tax analysis, it would show us the detail. And now here also we can go for detail. It is Alt F5 and it would show us all the details. Now these are the two things, computer and mobile phone, and HSN code is this thing and this one, right? And the tax type, rate type is 99 18%, 99 18%. And from where it has picked up the item, it has from where it has picked up the information like HSN. The source of GST rate is from stock item computer, and the source of HSN SAC detail is from stock item. So from stock item, it is calculating the GST rate and the HSN code. So from here, we can easily see that whether our calculation is right or wrong. You see? So this is total calculation, but fortunately, these both are in 18% category, so we can easily calculate. Let us see and add another item, which is AC, air conditioner 2 ton. For example, this is the air conditioner amount. Okay, suppose it is in 35,000. It would be reverse calculating the applicable rate, taxable amount, and we would be able to see again pressing Alt A and here Alt F5. Now we can see the analysis. So there are certain things which can easily tell us that whether our invoicing is good or not, right or not, right? So here we can see that, okay, the source of GST rate is from stock group AC and stock group AC, and the tax rate is 14 in 28%. So total amount of tax, which is 15,741, and it is from these things. And one more thing is that local tax sales taxable. So here all the things are local tax, local sales. Sorry. So it is local sales, not interstate, right? And if we are billing to party which is out of Haryana, then it would be interstate sales taxable, right? So if we are doing anything wrong, then this tax analysis would show us. Fortunately, we are doing everything right. So let us do something wrong. For example, we have made another item called C. For example, I have made another item like keyboard, nose, and I forget to mention anything here. Tax is applicable. Okay, done. Keyboard, for example, one, it is say 2,000 rupees. Then it is showing me exactly same rate and 2,000 rupees billing. So if I again go for tax analysis, it would show me something different. Tax rate, tax type not specified. Keyword. So we can easily identify that in a bill where we have multiple items, Control A would help us to know that which tax rate is missing or which tax rate is right or not, and we are doing it right or not. So here, tax rate not type specified, not specified, we can correct this thing. So again, to do the correction, we have to either go to keyboard by pressing Control Enter, and then mention the details here itself. Effective date, 1st of April. Of course, we are starting the company from that date. Specify detail, taxable, and 18%. Now, when we go for 2000, then it would show us the detail. Again, press Control A. Everything is in line. Everything is okay. So this is the thing. This is how we can correctly make our GST invoices. I'm going to save this invoice. Okay. Let's print this thing and let's have a preview. Here in preview, it would show us the tax analysis also. That for each item, what is the adjustment codes and what is the type of rate and taxable amount, value, and the amount of tax and the total tax amount, right? So this is where we can analyze the details. Now, the most interesting part is how we can do this thing quickly. To do this thing quickly, if we have certain ledgers, for example, we always need central tax, sales tax, and integrated tax in every sale. So what we can do is we can automate this thing. So how we can automate this thing? Let us see. So I have to go to my alter screen, voucher types, and sales voucher. Here in sales voucher, there is one option, enable default accounting allocations. So I can enable this default allocation by pressing yes, set alter, yes. Now here I can mention certain default ledgers which are always going to be there. So sales of goods, we would be getting this thing always there. And again, tax ledgers. And if the transaction is intrastate, then we would be using IGST also. So I have mentioned all these things. And the last thing, which is I'm putting yes, is remove if zero. So any of the ledger which is zero, it would be removed from the voucher after selling. And we would not see it in the tally. Round off. And it is total amount rounding, normal rounding. Here we can do the rounding thing. So since if we are using the option of providing value including GST, then we were already rounding off the things. Here, it done. Certain things are there, no problem. Okay, let's make another bill. For example, again, same customer, we are selling it. Sales of goods. Now I'm using all the 4 items. AC, 1 quantity. Now here I'm selling the AC in, say for example, 28,000 plus GST. Now GST is calculated at 3920 here. Then mobile phone, Samsung mobile phone, okay, 1. I'm selling it on 5,500. Apple mobile phone, say for example, I'm saying it 55,000 plus GST. And computer, I'm selling it on say 32,000 plus GST. Now, the tax is calculated, and if you want to be sure that on mobile phone exact tax rate is applicable or not, whether we have done right thing or not, then again we can go for Alt A analysis, right? And Alt F5 detail here. All things are there. Air condition is at 28%, that mobile phone Samsung is at 18%, and that Apple mobile phone is at 28%. and the computer is at 18%. So all things are good. And our invoice is automatically made because our taxes are automatically calculated. So this is the fastest way by which we have to just enter the items and their rate, and invoice would be made automatically. And it would be right also. So we can easily save this invoice. Suppose we are getting some error and our tax is not calculated as per our requirement. In that case, we should not do things forcefully. Like जबरदस्ती उसमें tax rate डालने की जरूरत नहीं है. We have to check that where we are making errors. Supposedly, let us make another sales ledger in different date. There is one another party which is purchasing computers from us. So it is in Rajasthan. Pin code we should mention, but since it is not there with us, we can skip it. So this is it. We have sold a certain thing on to our Rajasthan partner. So here, supposedly, I'm selling say 10 units. Now again, I'm selling it in 30,000. Have you noticed that integrated tax is automatically calculated? And if we press Alt A, it would be saying interstate sales. Alt F5. Again, all the things are right. So Tally is deciding intelligently for us that whether our sales is interstate or local. So all sales we can do like this, and it is quickly done. We need not to worry that, what is the tax rate, what is the tax amount, whether it is calculated right or not. So these things can be easily handled, and this is the fastest way by which we can do entries. Let us make some purchase entries and see how we can do purchase entries with GST as quickly as we have done it in the sales voucher. So for that also we can alter voucher type, purchase, and here in enable default allocation, yes, we can go for purchase of goods, CGST, SGST, GST, low. Yeah, one more thing is if there are certain other ledgers also which are usually there with you, then you can use them also as a default ledger. For example, many of our customers, partners, they receive certain purchases with say transport expenses, or they have to pay that expense. So that ledger can be also mentioned here. For example, I'm creating another ledger. Inward transport expense. It is kind of indirect expense. And here it is included in assessable value calculation for GST. And on goods, okay, it can have on goods only method of calculation based on value. And our GST applicability is here not applicable, right? So whatever amount we are going to add here, we can use user defined value. Yes. Then central tax, state tax by GST, download. Let's make a purchase entry. Suppose we have received a bill number 23 from our XYZ supplier, which is our sundry creditor. And that supplier is, say, for example, from Haryana. We let's skip this GST number. If we don't mention GST number, it is going to show us errors while we are making our returns. But it is not hampering the calculation of GST amount. So let's purchase computers. Suppose we have purchased 15 quantity is 15 computers we have purchased. Our rate was, say, for example, 25,000 rupees. Right? So now have you seen? Suppose I have paid 400 to the transporter, right? So you see the CGST and SGST amount. You closely watch this. I would put enter and it would change. The amount is 33,786. So the inward transport expense which you have incurred, the value of this transport is also included in the taxable amount. So the taxable amount previously was 7,500. So sorry, 3,75,000 and 400 is added. So the total taxable amount has increased and the tax amount is also increased. So this is the wonder of used for calculation in assessable value calculation for GST. Let me again show you the legend. Here we have mentioned that include in the assessable value calculation. Means if we want to calculate the assessable value, that what is the total assessable value of that particular invoice, then this amount should be included in that. So whatever assessable value you are having, 400 rupees is going to be added and the total taxable amount is going to be increased by 400 rupees. So this is the treatment. So our bill is automatically made done. In this bill also, we have a provision of Alt A, which is tax analysis, and it is showing that how much tax and what is adjacent detail for the tax. So this thing is clear. So this is how we can do faster entries in GST and correct entries in GST. Let me show what automation I have done. Again, I have altered the voucher type, and in voucher type, say in purchase, I have mentioned enable the default accounting allocation, and in default accounting allocation, I have mentioned all the ledgers which I want in my purchase ledger. Same thing, I have done it for the sales voucher. You see, many people practice this thing that they make input ledgers for CGST, SGST, IGST, and then make output ledgers for CGST, SGST, IGST, so that they can separately maintain that what is the amount of IGST and what is the amount of CGST as output and what is the amount as input. I'm not saying that this practice is wrong, but I'm saying this practice is increasing our complications while we are calculating our GST. So whatever balance these ledgers are having, we can easily see that what is the balance of our CGST ledger. For example, I'm saying that I want to see the CGST ledger. Here, the ledger balance is this for a particular period. So I can easily see that whether my balance is correct or not. So what is the balance? Basically. Again, if I want to see SGST balance, I can see it. And same is the case for integrated tax also. Right? Moreover, we have what amount of CGST, SGST in our sales figures, we can easily see from here. Go to statutory report, GST report, and for example, GSTR1. So here we have taxable amount, and if we see as nature view and Alt F5, here we are going to have all the details of sales amount. Like on 18%, how much is the taxable amount for a particular month? For 28%, what is the taxable amount? Right? And what is the interstate IGST amount for a particular period? So from here, we can always see the amount which we usually make separate ledgers and then calculate. So it should not be, means if we can get this information from here, then what is the use of making separate ledgers? And I have seen many parties which are again using separate ledgers for example, for 18%, they are using separate ledgers like CGST 18%, SGST 18%, and same way CGST 28%, SGST 28%, like this. So if we follow these things, then we would be having a lot of ledgers with us. And this is going to be complicated for us. For example, if we go for this entry itself, for example, I have made, sorry, this one. I have 4 items, and for these items, if I make separate ledgers, then we have so many ledgers. CGST output ledger 18%, CGST output ledger 28%, and same way CGST output ledger state 18%, SGST ledger, SGST 28%. So these type of ledgers we have to make. But by this method, this is the shortest possible way by which we can do entries in Tally and maintain our GST records. Let's again go to our statutory reports and GST reports here in 3B. 3B also, we can see all the details. Outward supplies, we are there, but we are having one uncertain transaction here. And that uncertain transaction is that GST registration detail for the party is not specified. Right? So we have to mention the GST number of this party. And when we mention this GST number, it would erase that error. Let me mention the GST number. So there are 2 places where we are mentioning the GST number. If I mention the GST number here only, then it would be applicable to this voucher only. But if I want to permanently remove these type of errors, then I should go to my ledger and update the transactions here. Ledger XYZ supply. For example, this is the, now I have made it applicable from 1/24. Done. And now it would tell me 3 options which I should accept. Suppose if I press yes, then this is going to be updated in this ledger only. And if I press U, which is my ideal choice, it would update the vouchers and master as well. So one voucher which we have used is updated. Now, if I would go to display statutory reports, GST report and 3D, then uncertain transactions are still there. Okay. Now, because here it is not applicable, I should use this method. Accept this voucher. Right? Now, here I have all the details, and if I press Alt F5, then you would see that all the liabilities 18%, 28%, including the amount, is there, and input credit is also there, amount 18% or 28%, whatever. Right? So this is the correct way, in my opinion, and you can also share your thoughts on this. And that ends our session. So I hope it was a good session for you people. And if you have any doubts, then you can share with us. And if you like this video, then you can go for our page and follow that. And you can see more such videos in the future. And with that, we end our session for this particular topic. And thanks for giving us your time. Happy telling.